Most people who say they want passive income in franchising end up buying themselves another job because they invest at the wrong level. They invest in individual franchise locations, thinking that ownership alone creates leverage. But ownership without structure still depends on execution. It still depends on management. It still depends on people showing up. And when execution drives outcome, the investment isn't passive, it's operational. And operational investments always carry operational exposure. But the investors who actually achieve passive participation in franchising approach it differently. They invest one level higher. They invest in the franchisor itself, the platform that produces and supports franchise locations. Because platforms scale, locations operate, and understanding that distinction is the difference between owning income and owning infrastructure. I'm Justin Kaiser, and over the last 24 years, I've built and scaled multiple businesses, including building a franchise brand from scratch and expanding it to over 100 franchise territories in just 3 years before an acquisition. One of the most important structural truths that I learned through that experience is that the real leverage in franchising doesn't exist at the unit level. It exists at the platform level, because individual franchise locations produce income, but franchisors produce systems that generate income across entire networks. When you invest in a franchisor, you participate in the economics of the system, not just the performance of one location. That structural shift changes the entire risk and return profile, because franchisees invest their own capital to open locations. They take on operational responsibility. They manage the employees. They manage the customers. They manage execution. And in exchange, they pay the franchisor an initial franchise fee and ongoing royalties based on revenue. And those royalties continue for the life of the franchise agreement, which means that the franchisor participates in the economic output of every unit across the entire network. But they don't have to operate those units directly. And when you invest in the franchisor itself, you participate in that royalty stream. You participate in that expansion. You participate at that platform level. This is exactly why sophisticated investors focus on owning franchisors instead of individual franchise locations, because franchisors benefit from expansion without being constrained by individual execution. Every new franchisee increases the size of the franchise system. Every new territory expands reach. Every new location increases recurring royalty revenue. And every increase in royalty revenue increases the enterprise value of the platform. That enterprise value is where the real upside exists, because franchisors are valued based on their scalability, their predictability, and their recurring revenue, not just their current income, but their future expansion potential. This is why private equity consistently invests in franchisors instead of franchise locations, because owning the platform creates leverage across the entire network. Leverage allows capital to scale without proportional effort. Leverage allows investors to participate in growth without operational involvement. And operational independence is what defines passive investing. Passive investing doesn't mean nothing happens. It means the investor isn't responsible for making it happen. The platform operates, the system expands, and the investor participates through ownership. This model creates diversification by design, because the franchisor's revenue is distributed across multiple operators, multiple markets, and multiple territories. This reduces dependency on any single location, and it reduces risk compared to owning individual franchise units, because individual locations depend on local performance, local marketing. But franchisors aggregate performance across the entire franchise system, and aggregated performance creates stability. Stability creates predictability, and predictability creates value. And this is why franchisors become more valuable as they grow. Every franchise agreement increases recurring revenue. Every royalty stream increases enterprise value. Every territory expands future growth capacity. And investors who participate early benefit from that expansion because franchisor value compounds as the system scales. And this is where timing matters. Investing at the platform level during early expansion stages creates asymmetric upside because the platform has more room to grow, more territory to develop, and more royalty streams to create. Those royalty streams accumulate over time, creating both cash flow and enterprise appreciation. This is fundamentally different from traditional passive investments because franchisor investing participates directly in business expansion while maintaining structural separation from operational responsibility. This model only works when the underlying business is designed correctly. The unit economics must support franchisee success. The systems must produce repeatable outcomes, and the brand must attract independent operators that are willing to invest. Because franchising doesn't create scalability, it reveals scalability. Franchisees invest their own capital, and their investment validates the platform. And as franchisees enter the system, they expand the network, and that expansion increases franchisor value. And investors who own equity in the franchisor participate in that growth. This is exactly what we focus on at Empire Franchising. We identify businesses with strong fundamentals, transforming them into scalable franchise platforms and building the infrastructure required for national expansion. And investors participate at that platform level with us, not the unit level, which allows them to benefit from the expansion of the system without becoming operators themselves. If you've ever been interested in franchising but didn't want to operate locations yourself, this is how passive investing in franchising actually works. Ownership at the franchisor level, ownership in the platform, ownership in the infrastructure that enables expansion. If you want to understand how franchisor investing works in practice, how these platforms are structured, and whether investing at the platform level aligns with your specific goals, then set up a call with us. We'll go over all the details with you, and together we'll decide if this is a fit for you or not.